Super Typhoon Mawar has entered the Philippine area of responsibility and will now be called Betty. We'll look into the preparations and updates on the typhoon later on. President Bongbong Marcos reveals plans to acquire the Philippines' first ever submarine in a bid to catch up with ASEAN neighbors. And in entertainment news, South Korean star Lee Seung-gi is now in Manila for a concert. The K-drama actor is also reportedly set to shoot a movie here and invest in a local project. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your weekend. I'm Riza Diaz. Super Typhoon Betty is now within the Philippine area of responsibility. Betty was last spotted some 1,300 kilometers east of central Luzon. The super typhoon is moving west-northwestward at 25 kilometers per hour with maximum sustained winds of 195 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 240 kilometers per hour. It is expected to remain a super typhoon over the weekend, dumping rains across northern Luzon and a western section of Mimaropa, Visayas, and Mindanao could also experience rain due to the southwest monsoon. To tell us more about Super Typhoon Betty, we have with us this morning Pag-asa forecaster Dan Villamil. Sir Dan, good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Riza, at sa ating mga tagapakinig dito sa One Balita.
Sir Dan, meron po bang pag-asa or chance na itong si Betty ay magla-landfall dito po sa ating bansa? At gaano po siya katagal mananatili sa Philippine Area of Responsibility?
Sa ngayon, nananatiling maliit yung tsansa ng landfall o yung direktang pagtama sa ating kalupaan at posibleng manatili ito sa ating Philippine Area of Responsibility at least for the next 5 days.
Yung kilos po niya is likely po ba na, would you say, medyo mabagal at may pagkakataon din po ba na mas lumakas pa siya o yung tinatawag po nating rapid intensification?
Yung pagkilos itong 25 kilometers per hour pakanluran, may kabilisan po ito, no? Pero once lumapit ito sa ating mga karagatan dito o yung Philippine Sea sa east of extreme northern Luzon, ay bahagyang babagal itong si Bagyo. So di pa rin po natin tinatanggal yung chance ng rapid intensification dahil sa mga factors ng paglakas ng bagyo ay dapat mainit yung ating karagatan. So that seems to be the case dito sa mga area ng east of northern Luzon.
Sa mga apektado pong lugar dyan sa northern Luzon, anong areas po sa inyo nga nakikita based on your, of course, track ang kumbaga ibabagsakan at gaano karaming ulan ang inaasahan?
So, as early as Monday or sa Lunes sa madaling araw hanggang Wednesday ay makaranas po tayo ng mga dire-diretso at malalakas na pag-ulan na direktang dala nitong si Betty o yung rain bands ni Betty sa northern Luzon area. So that includes sa Cagayan Valley and Cordillera. Monday to Tuesday, asan po natin yung mga pag-ulan sa mainland Cagayan, Batanes, Subuyan Islands, and yung northern portions ng Luzon, Ilocos Norte, and Apayao. Lalakas pa ang mga pag-ulan na ito pagsapit ng Martes hanggang Merkules, so possibly torrential rains or intense torrential rains over Batanes and Babuyan Islands and heavy to intense rains over the rest of northern Luzon.
Dan, would you be able to compare ito pong si Typhoon Betty sa mga previous na bagyo na naramdaman na natin dito sa Pilipinas?
Well, yung isa sa mga pinaka-similar track or yung pinakamukhang track nitong si bagyo, kung yung pagbabase natin yung track at lakas ng mga nakarang bagyo ay si Super Typhoon Paeng noong 2018. So, itong Super Typhoon na ito ay pumasok ng ating PAR, generally westward yung galaw nito, and in-approach ito yung east of northern Luzon area at nag-recurve ito papalayo sa ating bansa towards Japan and Taiwan area.
Meron na po ba tayong mga rekomendasyon as to suspension of sea or air travel, sir?
Well, sa ngayon, wala pa po tayong gale warning na nakataas, no? Pero as early as mamayang hapon, posible tayong mag-issue ng gale warning sa mga seaboards ng northern at eastern section ng Luzon. So, ibig sabihin po nito, yung ating mga kababayang mangingisda at may mga maliliit sa sakyang pandagat ay hindi po pinapayagang pumalaot muna dahil nga inaasahan natin itong malakas na hangin at kaakibot ito yung mga malalakas na alon na dala ni Super Typhoon Betty. With regards naman sa air travel, as early as mamayang gabi hanggang bukas ng umaga, posible na rin tayo magtaas ng wind signal o yung tropical cyclone wind signal sa mga ilang lalawigan ng Northern Luzon, possibly northern portion of Aurora.
Panghuli lamang, sir, meron po ba tayong binabantayang iba pang weather disturbance bukod kay Super Typhoon Betty?
Sa ngayon, wala naman po tayong binabantayan o may monitor na low pressure area o sama ng panahon. Bukod dito kay Betty na posibleng makaapekto sa mga bahagi ng ating bansa.
Pahabol, sir, dahil po sa dami ng ulan na tinatayang ibabagsak nga po nito ni Super Typhoon Betty, would you be able to say na ito na po ang simula ng tag-ulan sa ating bansa?
Well, isa sa mga criteria kasi natin na para madeklara itong onset ng rainy season ay dapat makareceive or makaranas ng dire-diretsong pag-ulan o consecutive na rainfall ang ating mga stasyon sa western section ng ating bansa. At sa mga susunod na araw, dahil nga sa papalapit itong si Bagyong Betty, posible nitong mahatak or ma-enhance itong hanging habagat o southwest monsoon. Opo, posible po next week sa mga senaryo na ito, dahil sa habagat, posible magpaulan sa kalurang bahagi ng ating bansa, posible po tayong or posibleng ma-meet yung mga criteria para magdeklara na tayo ng simula ng tag-ulan.
Thank you, Sir Dan, for sharing with us your time. That's Pagasa weather forecaster Dan Villamil. Meanwhile, telcos are likewise monitoring the possible effects of Super Typhoon Betty on communication. The details in this report by Gerald De La Peña.
Billboards in Guadalupe, Makati were already rolled up as early as Friday morning. This has been part of the protocols imposed to prevent billboards from flying around when strong winds occur. Meralco teams, meanwhile, are roaming the entire Metro Manila to prune branches of trees that touch its power lines. This is to prevent power supply interruptions in the middle of a storm. In a statement, Meralco assured the public that it is on standby and ready to respond in case of emergency. PLDT Smart, for its part, is also monitoring how the super typhoon will affect communication lines. PLDT's teams are also on standby to respond to whatever inconvenience that customers might experience. Meanwhile, the Philippine Ports Authority has ramped up preparations, particularly in its ports in Palawan, Zamboanga, and Leyte. Items that might be blown away by strong winds, such as signages and metal barriers, have been removed by its personnel. And for aviation, the Manila International Airport Authority has warned the public of possible flight delays due to lightning. Airport authorities have to suspend runway operations whenever lightning strikes to prevent injuries and deaths among the ground crew. The MIAA said due to frequent rains and the forthcoming super typhoon, they may have to issue more lightning red alerts. 130 flights were delayed due to suspended runway ops.
Definitely may mga delays. Pero yung mga taga-operations natin and yun kasama din yung mga airlines, no, naka-prepare naman yan sila palagi, no, in sa mga ganitong klaseng eventualities.
Both the agency and airline companies are also preparing for possible actual cancellation of flights. Meals will be readied for stranded passengers. For News 5, Gerard De La Peña, We Are One News.
Several localities are now gearing up for Super Typhoon Betty. Local officials are monitoring water levels in or at the Cagayan River. Speedboats and rescue vessels are also being readied. The provincial government is aiming for zero casualty and is reminding its residents to make the necessary preparations for the typhoon. Meanwhile, in Baguio City, the local Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council is preparing their landslide rescue equipment. Local satellite offices of the Social Welfare Department have also prepared about 60,000 food and non-food packs. Meanwhile, Cannon Road is still closed following a landslide last May 9. Farmers in Ilocos Sur are harvesting rice and corn earlier than usual as the threat of Super Typhoon Betty looms. Classes in all levels as well as work in public offices in Vigan have been suspended on Monday, May 29. The local government is also appealing to its residents to cooperate in case there is a need to evacuate. And in Cebu Province, the local government is busy with its clearing operations in preparations for the super typhoon. In Lapu-Lapu City, the Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office has sent relief goods in Caubian Island to ensure the food packs are available in the island if needed. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. President Bongbong Marcos announced plans to acquire the country's first submarine during the Navy's 125th anniversary celebration on Friday. Maricel Halili with the details.
President Bongbong Marcos led the celebration of the 125th anniversary of the Philippine Navy at its headquarters in Manila. But before that, the Navy presented its newly commissioned Navy gunboats to the President. Marcos says these will be used not only for maritime monitoring but also for disaster response.
Kagaya ngayon, ang aming pinag-uusapan at pinaghahandaan ay yung bagyo. And of course, our armed forces plays always a very important part when it comes to search and rescue, pati sa pagdala ng relief.
In his speech, Marcos emphasized that these vessels are a step towards the completion of the Armed Forces Modernization Program.
Will pave the way for the holistic transformation of our AFP into a stronger, modern, and formidable organization. By then, the AFP will be more effective in its military aims and more responsive to our national goals.
Along with this, the chief executive also bared the government's plan to acquire the Philippines' first submarine. However, it will not be done anytime soon.
We are in the middle of developing mostly our anti-submarine capabilities. So yun ang uunahin natin, and then hopefully when the time comes and the conditions are agreeable, then we might be able to acquire those submarines.
Marcos recognized the Navy's role in securing the archipelago, particularly Batanes and Kalayaan Islands, the Philippine Rise, and the West Philippine Sea. Recently, the Philippine Coast Guard installed additional navigational buoys in critical areas of the disputed areas. This was done in a bid to mark the country's territory. National Security Advisor Eduardo Año explained that this was not meant to provoke other claimants, but rather to protect the Philippines' maritime borders. A few days after that, though, China also sent its buoy vessel to the area. With this, Año says they will coordinate with the Foreign Affairs Department to determine what steps to take following this move by China.
We will avoid any physical confrontation. We will not escalate the tension. We will always be adhering to the rule of law. So, yung ginagawa nila ay constantly minomonitor natin.
For News 5, Maricel Halili, we are One News.
Korean actor and singer Lee Seung-gi is in Manila for his concert later today. The My Girlfriend is a Gumiho star is currently on his Asia tour and had just finished performing in Japan and Taiwan. He's also set to do more projects in the Philippines. Former Ilocos Sur Governor Chavit Singson revealed that the actor will also be investing to develop parts of Metro Walk in Pasig into a Little Seoul. Singson said this will take about 3 years to complete. Lee Seung-gi will also be starring in a Pinoy movie also produced by Singson. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.